Yes, you guys, and how are all of you doing today? I'm UniFC, this is Behind TV, and welcome to the player ratings video after that 3-2 win against Norwich City. And of course, I'm sure you guys are still feeling pretty excited after Frank Lampard finally got his first win for us. And in today's player ratings video, I'm going to go through all the players, giving my reasons as to why I'm going to give them particular scores. But before I get into that, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. If you guys want to help me out and help yourselves out as well, you'll find the OneFootball app in the link in the description below. Now getting straight into things, starting with Kepa in goal. And for me, I thought that Kepa had a pretty poor game. Now his passing was pretty poor most of the time. He wasn't finding his man, and quite a few times he was kicking the ball out of play. I thought he was pretty average. I thought that he could have done much better with his saves, especially for that second goal, and yeah, it was quite poor. Now Kepa does have talent, he does have ability, he's still quite young, and we know that for goalkeepers, the older they get, the better they become. There's still a lot of promise in the player, but in today's game, he wasn't too great. I'm giving Kepa a 5 out of 10. Moving on to our left back, Emerson. And the first thing I want to say is, it's been a long time since we've had a left back us fans can feel confident by. And I think Emerson's going to have a season this year where he's really going to blow. Offensively, he's on point. This new system gets the best out of him. But what I really like about him, even though from an offensive point of view, I thought that his crosses kept hitting the first man. I thought he kept making the wrong decision at times. His shot on goal could have been much better, but from a defensive aspect, a defensive point of view, he's never playing anyone on side. He wins his 50-50s, and that's the most important thing. And I really feel that he was the upgrade which we've needed for a very long time now. I'm going to give Emerson a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Kurt Zouma, and for me, he was our best defender today. I thought that Kurt Zouma was commanding. He went for every tackle, he won nearly every ball in the air today, and what I like about the player is his 50-50 tackling is on point. And when you have two centre-backs that can win their 50-50s, it means that you can play with a very, very, very high line. But on top of that, I thought his passing was on point. I thought it was fast, it was efficient, and yeah, I know the commentator made a point about him making one mistake with his pass, but that really annoys me. And what I don't like is that certain players get ignored until they make a mistake. And I feel like people are going to do the same thing to Kurt Zouma as the season goes on. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but for today's score, I'm going to give Kurt Zouma a 7 out of 10. Moving on to Kurt Zouma's partner, Andreas Christensen. And one thing I did like about Christensen today was that he was very comfortable leaving his position to go out wide to help defend. As I was saying about Kurt Zouma, Christensen is another defender that's very good when it comes to making 50-50 tackles, and he really helps support Azpilicueta down that right hand side. Another thing I like about Andreas is that he's getting a lot of rough treatment these days. Referees aren't really helping him, but what I like is he's just getting up and rolling with the punches, and that's something you want to see. But the only thing that lets down his performance is he was the reason why we conceded the equaliser to Norwich. He did play Pookie on side. I'm not going to be too mad because for me, I'm not going to be too mad with Andreas because for me, it's a structural thing. It's a collective effort, and until the entire back four now to really play with each other, we're going to keep seeing these mistakes. So I'm going to score Andreas a 6.5 out of 10. Now moving on to Azpilicueta, and with Azpi today, I thought that he was looking a lot more safer, and in turn he looked a lot more solid. And that's because it's clear that Lampard hasn't been telling Azpi to bomb forward as much. Azpi's been timing his runs a lot better. He did play a supportive role this game, and with Christensen beside him and Pulisic hugging the touchline out wide, it meant that Azpi isn't getting as exposed as he normally is. So for that reason, I'm going to score Azpi a 6.5 out of 10. I thought that the times where he did get forward, it was quite decent. You know, some decent deliveries inside the box, some, not all of them, but hopefully this is the balance that we find in the team right now, and hopefully Azpi is going to step up and feel a lot more confident. Now getting straight into our midfield, starting with Mateo Kovacic, and with Kova, for me, he was our best central midfield player. Now what I really liked about his game today was how good he was from an offensive point of view. Now it was a game of two halves in the sense that Kova was amazing from an offensive point of view, but when it came to defending, sometimes it wasn't on point. But I do want to focus on the positives. I thought that he was the main reason in helping us start attacks from deep, and he did that by carrying the ball, which he did fantastically well. He did that by helping to create overloads out wide, by making us run to the right hand side as well, and he made a great assist for Mason for the second goal. It was a top display, and Cover suits playing in the pivot. That's his best position. Very good performance today, and for that reason I'm going to score Cover a 7.5 out of 10. Moving on to Jorginho, and for me it wasn't his best game. Now yes, he worked hard and he ran a lot, but I still think that he does suit playing as a regista because his game's always been about being sandwiched in between two opposition players, and when that happens it means that he needs passing options in front of him, but they're too far, and they're too far away because they're either making runs or they're fullbacks hugging the touchline and stretching the play. And I think to get the best out of Jorginho, you need to use a number 8, because when Jorginho beats the press, his first pass normally is to a number 8, and this is why him and Ruben look so good. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as the season goes on and what happens once Ruben does return. But today Jorginho wasn't his perfect best, quite average, and for that reason I'm going to score him a 6 out of 10. Now moving on to our number 10, and that was none other than Ross Barkley. Now how did Ross Barkley do today? Not so great, you guys. It was quite poor. Now, I do want to say first, he did a handful of positives, and I really mean it, a handful. A few times it was a nice piece of skill, a nice piece of play to evade the press. There was this great pass to Mason or Pulisic during the first or second half, but other than that, that was really it. What we need from our number 10 is a lot more quality. Now, I sound harsh, I really do, but the thing is, Ross was playing in his best position in today's game, and he didn't make anything happen. And that was because he was either slowing down the play by taking too long to make his mind up with what he was going to do with the ball. He wasn't playing first time passes enough, and that was notable in the half spaces and out wide. Too often his shots weren't on target. They were close. Yeah, some efforts were decent, but most times he was taking the wrong decision because he should have been playing a passing instead of taking a shot. I'm not too sure about him. I'm really not. And I think that he looked better in pre-season because it's pre-season and we played against a lot of weaker teams. This really wasn't too great today, and for that reason I'm going to score Ross Barkley a 5 out of 10. Now moving on to Christian Pulisic, and he really wasn't too much better compared to Barkley. Now yeah, he did a few decent things today. His first touch was on point at times, his rotational play was very good, found some good positions as well, but again, maybe it's the pace of the Premier League. I mean, he hasn't really played in it. It's going to take some time to acclimatise and get used to it, so we need to understand and respect that. And let's remember, he's only 20 years old, so it's understandable. Now for you cynical guys, I can imagine that you're thinking, is it a surprise that Pulisic was with the Nelk boys? And now in this game today, he was pretty quiet. I think the one thing that I want to highlight about him is that he does get in some good positions for shots, but most times he's never testing the keeper, he's not forcing saves, or he's missing the target. And that's something that he needs to improve at because, in Lampard's system, he wants the wingers to be making those infield runs in the box. So if you're going to be getting in those positions, you need to be more clinical. Now moving on to Mason Mount, he scored another goal today. Impressive goal. I love how he cut inside, and this is what I like about him. And he kind of reminds me of a Kevin De Bruyne in the sense that he does a lot of very positive things from an offensive point of view. He's a very pro-attacking player, and I think players like that really help get the best out of their teammates when they're playing. A lot of selfless running. I thought his combinational play with Emerson was very good as well, and he's very intelligent. And what I like about him is the guy knows how to score a goal. To be able to do this at 20 years old is mad. It really is. And again, it was another impressive performance. For that reason, I'm going to score Mason Mount a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to my man of the match, Tammy Abraham. Incredible performance today, and it was no surprise to me that he was going to score because I've been watching this guy play over the past few games, and you could see that he was getting better and better, and you could tell that the goal was coming soon. And in today's game, for all the people that have been doubting him and all the naysayers, I really hope that his performance today proved people wrong, because the guy has the potential and the ability to become the #1 striker for us. His goals were expertly taken. I mean, incredible finishes. When's the last time we've seen a striker playing for us scoring those types of goals? And I really mean it. Those finishes were top class. I mean, that first goal on the half volley, first time shot, incredible. And throughout the game, he caused Norwich a ton of issues. He stretched their defensive line. Their defenders didn't know whether to stay tight or to leave him. And I think that Tammy showed today why Lampard needs to use him more, because the more he plays, the better he's going to get. For that reason, I'm going to score Tammy Abraham an 8.5 out of 10. And to end things with the manager rating, Frank Lampard, what is he going to get today? Well, Frank did do a few nice things in today's game. I like that he really focused on the game management aspect. I like the substitutions he made. He brought on Marcus Alonso and Olivier Giroud. Now I understand that some people might think, why take off Tammy when he's on a hat-trick? But the most important thing is securing the 3 points. You know, we're not the most defensively sound team right now. And by bringing on these physical guys that can win their battles, that can win these aerial balls, by bringing on Olivier Giroud, who's able to hold up the ball and in a sense transform how we play, we became a lot more narrow. We kept the ball a bit better. They were the right substitutions to make. Lampard is trying to find that balance between sticking to his attacking convictions and being able to keep that defensive balance in the team. I think it's going to take a lot longer than we think, but I think once key players return, things will be a lot more smoother. And for that reason, I'm going to score Frank Lampard a 7 out of 10. And that's it from me, you guys. That's my player ratings for today's video. You guys know what to do. In the comments below, give me your player ratings for the game today. Who stood out for you? Who underperformed? I want to read it all. On that note, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm NORWICH FC. This is Blue Line TV. See you guys later.